Let's hit it. And welcome in, takers. Hope you're staying warm in this nice New England snowy weather. I am Mac Disfatt-Bidge. We got Ryan the Tagless Haynes. Ryan, you staying warm out there? I thought we were all done with the snow, but it just came back with a vengeance.
I am staying warm, and we're almost out of it. We got like another month. We got to deal with this shit, and then we're good.
That's true. It is February 26th, 2022. We got Matt IR Regan still on the IR. He's on vacation, so much deserved as well. So we just got two tippers here, just giving you our fantasy football tips and maybe some TV show tips as well. Seems like our leftovers at the end of the episode is always TV or movies, so we're a bit more cultural than that. We do other things too, but yes, 90% of the time it's a movie. But it's all good. Takers, welcome in. We are going to discuss Dynasty buys, who to trade for. We dabble in the Dynasty world as well, not just redraft leagues, so we'll run down the differences between redraft, keepers, and Dynasty. If you haven't started one yet, stick around. We'll try to help you to get started with that in another video. But right now, I just want to say, if you are listening to us on Apple and Spotify, we appreciate it. If you leave us a review, 5 stars, be much appreciated. You can find us on Google and Amazon Podcasts. Just a tip, a Fantasy Football Podcast. On YouTube as well. Hit the like button and subscribe. Set the alert. And find us on our socials. Just a tip. FFP. And done. Let's get down to business here. Ryan, did I miss anything? No, we're good? Cool.
Sweet sassy molassie!
Haynes' briefs here. Ryan, there's got to be a lot of news, right, in this offseason?
Ton of news, dude. You know, end of February is usually like hot take time. So let's kick it off with the biggest piece of news from the week. Tom Brady will start filming and producing a movie about himself this spring. Haven't we been here before? How many times do we have to hear the same story over and over again?
I was going to say, how many movies or shows does he have to do? I haven't even watched Man in the Arena, and I hear it starts out well because you look back with Drew Bledsoe and everything back when it all started. But after that, it's just like, yeah, we've heard about this. It's not for New England fans. It can't be because we lived it.
I don't get it, man. We had the Brady 6, and then he had the one on Facebook. I can't even remember the name of that one. And then he had Man in the Arena.
Time.
Tom versus Time, Man in the Arena, and now a movie? We know, dude. We know the story. We've heard it from every possible angle.
Well, it's following Jane Fonda and a bunch of old ladies, probably Dolly Parton or something. I don't know. And they're following him to his Super Bowl. I don't get it.
What?
Oh yeah. It's
None
not
of that made sense to me.
It's following like 4 old ladies. Jane Fonda. It's probably Meg Ryan. I don't know. Old actresses. And they're following Tom Brady. Yeah, it's really dumb. It's going to be stupid.
Based on a true story?
I don't know. You act like I did my research on it. I'm just telling you what I heard.
I'm so thrown off. I just totally expected 6th round pick, Drew Bledsoe injury, gets a chance, wins for the next 20 years.
No, it's starring himself.
Rule.
He'll pretty much just be doing cameos probably, and it's following these 4 women who go on a road trip to the Super Bowl. That's what I've heard. Yeah, it sounds totally dumb. It will be.
All right. Yep. Don't even know what to say to that. Didn't realize that. That's wow. Okay.
We will not be watching it.
I don't know. Now I kind of want to watch it just to see what the hell this is. Oh my god! All right.
Football movies are not what they used to be.
Yeah, no. When it turns into four older women following Tom Brady, that's a reach. All right, here we go. Next bit of news. I don't know how to follow that one there.
No.
Susan Sarandon, maybe she'd be a good choice. Sean McVay supposedly turned down $100 million deal for commenting with Amazon. So if you were Sean McVay, Mac, would you commentate for Amazon or would you follow your heart and try to win another Super Bowl?
I would go for the money, $100 million, but I'm guessing it will be around later in life for him. I don't get it. I don't like Sean McVay. I find him annoying with his voice and his douche vibes with the guy that has to pull him off the sideline and just shadow him the entire game. I don't get the appeal. But they're trying to find a Tony Romo. I don't know. They're throwing shit at the wall, see what sticks for commentating nowadays.
Anytime a guy begins or a team begins to win more and individuals kind of get, you kind of hear more and more about their backstory and you get a bigger picture into like some of the behind the scenes stuff. That's when you start to really kind of not like certain people. I think Sean McVay is a good example. Prior to this year, I'm like, yep, this guy's got a lot of energy. Players seem to love him. His interviews are hilarious because he talks at like a mile per second. And then the more you like hear about him, you're like, I don't know. He's fine.
Yeah.
I'm a little just over hearing about him.
Gingers, man. Can't stand him.
True.
So follow up for that movie. It's going to be on Paramount. And it is produced by Brady. He'll make appearances in it. You got Lily Tomlin, Jane Fonda. Who the hell is Kyle Marvin? I don't know. Sally Field and Rita Moreno.
I'm a big Sally Fields fan.
I bet you are.
Forrest Gump was a fantastic movie.
True.
And Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh, that's right. That bitch.
Is Pierce Brosnan going to be in this one? Because that would be the kicker for me.
No, he is not.
I'm out.
He's gonna be in
Bond.
What is it? Black Adam? No, he's done with Bond. He's in Black Adam with The Rock.
Nice. All right, anyway. Next bit of news. Here we go.
Is there more news?
There is not. There's no more news. I thought there was one more thing we were gonna. Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, Aaron Rodgers thing. It's a very slow time of year. Takers, apologies, but yeah, Aaron Rodgers. Would you rather poop 20 to 30 times a day or puke 20 to 30 times per day?
Is that what Aaron Rodgers is doing right now? Is that what you're saying?
No, he went away for 12 days for a cleanse and detoxifying his body. They had bloodletting too, so he had like leeches sucking on him. This guy, this breakup is either really affecting him or it was some sort of healing hippie thing from her. Who the hell knows?
This is the most bizarre Haynes brief that there's ever been.
Yeah,
I don't know if we'll ever top this one again.
Probably not. Probably not. So yeah, it's some sort of. I'm not even gonna attempt to pronounce the name. I wouldn't try this. Not like I'm a spectacle of health, but this doesn't seem healthy. There's a reason bloodletting isn't used as practice. Like you're not supposed to do it. So yeah, leeches on him, and then some sort of inducing vomiting all day, and pooping 20 to 30 times a day for 12 days. It's intense. That's what he went away for 12 days, and that's what he told on the Pat McAfee show. I don't know if he's...
I mean, it sounds intense, but not necessary.
It clears his body, I guess. I don't know if he's trolling, though. This is why I wanted to talk about it, because he's another guy like Tom Brady wants to be in the spotlight, and I think he's trolling. I don't think he actually did this stuff, but you'd still want him as your quarterback. Like it's like, okay, you weirdo, that's fine. Just throw me the ball.
He knows he's so unpredictable that people are going to believe it. Uh, I don't know. I get a trolling vibe too, but at the same time, I'm like, no, maybe he is someone that would do that just based on his history. I don't know, but that is a bizarre story.
It's like that Family Guy episode where they're trapped in the basement and it's flooding. And they're like, we should start a rumor about Rob Schneider who likes to get chained up Mexicans in the shower or something like that.
Oh my god!
And it turns out to be true. It's like, oh yeah, that's believable. And it turns out to be true. He like wants to be whipped in the shower or something. We'll edit that one out. That is too weird.
I don't know what's happening in this Haynes brief. I think we should move on to some Dynasty buys. This episode is off to a very weird start. Sally Fields, bloodletting. I don't know what the fuck is happening right now. Didn't we learn a lesson from bloodletting with like George Washington?
Yeah, I mean I think it was common practice back in like Civil War times, and then they stopped doing it. The Victorian age, like I don't know why we got better technology, dude. And you could afford it too. I don't get it.
I don't know, man. All right, here we go. That's
anyway,
it for the Haynes brief.
Enough to get into that weird stuff. Thank you, Ryan.
I lost where I was with my notes. I dropped my pen. I don't know what's happening.
Are you not entertained?
We try to keep you guys entertained during the during the off season. So there you go. There's some knowledge for you that you did not want to know. Good water cooler talk though. I don't know where I was either. I've lost
I don't know.
myself.
If you're looking for good icebreakers, listen to that part. Dynasty buys. Let's get into it.
We're going to get into some Dynasty buys here. Just some tips on who we're targeting to get on our roster. We'll do one for sells, trade away players that they're either at peak value or it's like, all right, this is turning a bad turn. But right now we're going to focus on going to hit their potential, and you're basically calling your shot on them. So we're not experts. We just win kind of often. We're fantasy influencers. So these are just our tips. So take them easy, take them hard. It's up to you. All right. So Ryan, let us get down to business.
Come, let us gingerly touch our tips.
All right, Ryan, what's your first guy that you are looking to target? So, difference with Dynasty, we usually, last season anyway, we focused a lot on redraft, but Dynasty, you get these guys on your roster, and they're locked in. You can either trade them away or cut them, or they retire and then you cut them. They're there forever, basically. So, who's the guy that you're targeting? Long-term, short-term, put it into context for the people out there who are trying to boost their roster for Dynasty.
Yeah, right now, what I'm trying to do in Dynasty in February is try to find the guys who their value is relatively low, so you can make a trade for them without giving up too much, but you're kind of trying to predict the future a little bit. So my first example of this is going to be Keyshawn Vaughn. So Keyshawn Vaughn, I believe he's going to be 23 years old starting next season. For those of you that might not know, he's the third string running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now. Leonard Fournette is an unrestricted free agent this year. Ronald Jones is an unrestricted free agent this year. Bruce Arians has come out and said that Keyshawn Vaughn can be a workhorse for a backfield. And he was a second-round pick. This could be his year to be a starting running back. And right now, you can get Keyshawn Vaughn in most formats for a third-round pick. So, for example, I've traded two separate trades. I've offered a 2022 early to mid third-round pick for Keyshawn Vaughn, and both of those trades have gone through. Now, if you look back at recent draft history, so I went back to the 2020 draft because you kind of have a better sense of where these players are kind of at as they go into their third year. And names from that third round: Darrington Evans, Brian Edwards, Antonio Gandy Golden, Adam Troutman, DJ Dallas, Tyler Johnson, KJ Hamler. I mean, these are guys that you just don't know where they're gonna project to, and they really haven't given you a lot to start. Now there are some like random outliers like Justin Herbert's in this draft, Cole Kmet, who's likely going to be a big time tight end eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you usually get one or two guys out of that round that are gonna give you a good amount of value. And there's a lot of guys who within 2 or 3 years are going to be out of the league. So a third round pick right now for a guy like Keyshawn Vaughn, who might be a starting running back and will likely end up in the running back 2 discussion if he is a starting running back, I'm targeting him right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a good player to target. Especially just in context, he's been sitting on somebody's bench. They haven't been able to play him. So they're probably frustrated. They're like, you know what? Yeah, I'll take a third rounder. I'll try to see if I can get that next Eli Mitchell who will go off this season, because this guy didn't for me when you spent that, what was he, first round draft pick that people would have spent in a dynasty, and it didn't pay off. So they might be trying to cut their losses. So bit of a gamble, but it's worth it. Worth it in my opinion.
Low risk gamble. I mean, third round pick is really, it's a low risk gamble. It's still every trade you make is it's going to be a risk. But with this one here, I think that Keyshawn Vaughn eventually will be a starting running back in the league. And if it's not this year, it might be next. And you're always looking ahead at the future.
I like it, man. I like it. All right, well, I'll keep with the running back theme, but I'm going to change up the context a bit. So Kareem Hunt is one of the guys that I'm targeting because in one of my leagues, I am a contender, and I need another running back depth piece. So Kareem Hunt, 26 years old. He's going into his final year of the contract. So you know me, Ryan. I love the contract year, guys.
Mm-hmm.
So is Baker Mayfield. As a side note, so the team, are they falling apart? Could be. Who knows? They appeared in the AFC Championship 2 years ago, or the divisional round, and they were so close, and then not this year. So I think he's gonna be wanting to get out of there. So he's gonna be motivated to get out. 2 years ago, he was a top 10 running back because of Chubb missing due to injury. If Kareem Hunt can stay healthy, I think he'll go off. Anyway, so Hunt, he doesn't want the reek of anything foul from the Browns. I'm feeling like he's got to explode this year. I was just mentioning he might leave some skid marks on his way out of Cleveland, the Browns, to land in more of a running back 1 role, because he has that talent. He could be the workhorse, and he has a better receiving ability than Chubb. I just don't think they're utilizing him well. You may be thinking I'm picking him for just the puns. Might be some truth to that, but one more big contract in his future, so he's going to be going for that. I'm willing to give up, I've been thinking about this, as a contender, a low-end first for this year or 2023. And then after this season, trade other players to recoup some picks in 2023. So that would be my strategy for it. I think he's worth it. Try to see if you could do a couple 2s and a flex wide receiver for him. See what the guy needs as a potential. But if he's a contender, he's probably not getting rid of Hunt. So always see what their records have been. Plus, if they're a fan of a certain player or a team, just try to utilize that. Just get some sort of edge.
Listen, some people really value draft picks very highly. So if you throw a couple of seconds and maybe a young receiver at somebody like a KJ Hamler, you just toss them in, or Brian Edwards, they might take that trade. And a late first, if you're a contender, I like that trade because it's hard to trade for running backs in Dynasty. Every contender is looking for running back depth. So if you're offering a late first in this draft, I think that's good value. I'll tell you what, one trade that comes to mind in our Dynasty League last year was 111 was traded for Damian Harris. 111 turned out to be Terrace Marshall. And although you don't know what Terrace Marshall is going to be, he had kind of a disappointing rookie season. And Damian Harris, for a contender, really helped that team kind of put them over the top in certain weeks when he went off.
That is true. And he's going into a contract year, too. So a little bonus to target Damian Harris because they'll be moving on from him, from Ramondre Stevenson. Yeah, I think for Kareem Hunt, see if that guy is needy at tight end. And you can give him a potential top 10 tight end for next year, Gesicki, plus with the second rounder, something like that. Find what their need is and see if you have enough assets to give them, to trade him away, rather. No, don't just give it to him. So, yeah, he was... last season was a bit disappointing year. He only played 8 games, though. The year before that, he was a number 10 running back, and he played 16 games. His yards per carry consistently over 4 yards. Plus, he's good for 35-plus receptions a year, and that's pretty valuable. Hopefully, he goes to a team with a bad defense, so they have to use him in the 2-minute offense to come back. That's my line of thinking. All right, are you looking to get Hunt? I think he's a great
honestly, man,
third running back.
I do too, and I'll tell you what. Last year, Kareem Hunt for me was a sell option. So I sold Kareem Hunt in one particular league for Michael Pittman, which I'm really happy about moving forward in the future. And this year, Nick Chubb played 14 games. He had a lot of that workload because Kareem Hunt was not around. And I don't know if Nick Chubb plays 14 plus games in a lot of seasons moving forward. So I don't know how consistent that's going to be. He's not an injury risk, but every running back will go through injuries at some point throughout the season. So you don't know what's going to flip flop. It could be Nick Chubb has 8 games next year and Kareem Hunt has 14 games. And we've seen what happens if Kareem Hunt gets that workload. He's a top 10 running back. So yeah, I like Kareem Hunt. I like trying to get him cheap. I think a late first is fair value, but if you could get him for a couple of seconds, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Especially they traded OBJ. Who knows with Jarvis Landry? We probably should have put that in the news. He's not locked in for a contract there, so they have no weapons to pass to. So that was the other reasoning I would like Kareem Hunt. Maybe they line him up in the slot at times as well. All right. Yeah. Who's your next guy?
Yeah, to kind of go with the theme of getting to. You good?
I'm good. Sorry, I was muting myself.
That's all right. To stick with the theme of trading away and trying to get a guy for second round picks, and second round picks can have a lot of value. They're certainly more reliable than like a third, which might seem obvious, but you might be able to find 5, 6, 7 guys of pretty good value in the second round. But it's really dependent on the year, and you don't always know. So a guy here that I like is Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson in 2019 and 2020 was one of the most consistent receivers in the league. He only had 5 games across that stretch where he had single digits. So, and he was doing that with Mitch Trubisky, Nick Foles, and right now people are salty about Allen Robinson. They either in a startup league drafted him really high, 3rd round, 4th round, maybe even the 2nd round, or he just really disappointed a contender. So people are looking to kind of ship off Allen Robinson. In some leagues, people still hold him in high regards, and it's kind of hard to trade for him. In other leagues, I just traded. I'll give you an example. So I traded a 2023 first and 2 second round picks, a 2022 and a 2023. And I got Cortland Sutton and Allen Robinson. Cortland Sutton is the guy who I think was definitely worth a late round first or a late pick in the 1st round. And Allen Robinson for 2 seconds, I was all about that. So both of those guys could command 100 targets this year, depending on the situation for Allen Robinson. I'm hearing Chiefs is a possibility. So I'm an Allen Robinson fan. How do you feel about him this year? I think he's good value.
If he goes to the Chiefs, I don't like that at all. Tyreek Hill is also going into a contract year next year as well. So who knows? He was kind of inconsistent last year. But yeah, Allen Robinson, I think he checked out last year. So he was very disappointing. Definitely worth taking a shot on. I don't know if I want to give up any seconds for him. But I think if you want him, you have to do the package deal. It won't be straight up because then the person's just going to be like, okay, so you really believe in this guy. I think I can get more out of you. So it's going to have to be a package deal like you did. But it's risky. It depends where he lands. Like, what if he goes to the Texans? Like, who knows? He's just going to go where the money is.
It's definitely risky, but he's proven that if he's invested, even with a poor quarterback, he can still be a wide receiver 1. If you're trading 2 seconds for a wide receiver 1, you are going to be absolutely thrilled with that trade.
That's true. It is short term, though. What did you say? He's 29?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's if you're looking to win in the next 3 years.
Absolutely.
If you're rebuilding, nah, don't do it.
Who do you got next?
My guy next, tight end here, Albert Okwuegbunam. Just Alberto. Much easier. Big tight end out of, he's in Denver. He's their tight end too. So he did tear his ACL his rookie year in 2020. But he did look good last year coming back if you watch the games. Now, in context, they have Noah Fant ahead of him. They were going to utilize Noah Fant for sure. Noah Fant is an unrestricted free agent next season. Or after this season. So in 2023, he will be. So I think after they sign their wide receivers, Courtland Sutton and Tim Patrick, to their contracts, and they're like, yeah, Noah Fant, we're not signing you. I don't think he's in their long-term plan. They need to get a quarterback and keep Albert O on the cheap, who's going to be their red zone big threat. So I like him. You could trade a 3rd-round pick for him. I got him in our rookie draft in the 4th round. Or maybe just a flex wide receiver. If, say, you have a whole bunch of flexes and not a bunch of picks, and you're just like, here, I'll trade you. I don't know. What's he worth? Somebody else to take a chance on. Jennings from San Francisco.
Tyler Johnson.
Jennings. Tyler Johnson. Hell, Robbie Anderson. Let him have Robbie Anderson. I hate on Robbie Anderson so much. No, I wouldn't do that. I would try trading picks first, but then maybe a 3rd and another potential player. Say he needs running back depth and be like, I got DJ Dallas, who might have a chance. One of those types of young running backs that he's going to have to take a shot on as well. But in 2 years, I believe Alberto will be a top 12 tight end regularly.
Yeah, I love how you're thinking that far into the future, because with tight ends, I mean, as we know with Dynasty, it takes 3 or 4 years for these tight ends to really develop and to become valuable in the fantasy world. So I think you're absolutely right. I think they've given a lot of money to those wide receivers. Why would you need 2 tight ends at that point? Noah Fant is probably gone. And then you have a 25-year-old tight end who's probably reaching his peak, and you got him for a 3rd-round pick. Or in some leagues, if people are loaded at tight end and they're getting excited for the draft, you might be able to throw a couple like 4ths. You might be able to do maybe a late 3rd and a 4th and package that. Or even like a 3rd-round pick for next year. Like people will make crazy moves around draft time. I would make that move for Albert.
Yeah, I would definitely get him. Yeah, I wouldn't go into the 2nd round for picks. Like, I don't think he's worth that. You're taking the chance on him. So no more than a lower end 3rd for me. Yeah, that's it on Alberto. It's don't look at his stats. I mean, he only had 2 touchdowns. He did miss a few games last year, but they're a crappy offense. So they're trying to booster that up. And that's why they went to get Admiral Hackett.
I think the trend with all of these guys is that you can't look at their last season because either they underperformed big time, and that's why they're a value, or they're young, they're down a depth chart a bit. They're just kind of second tight end, third tight end, whatever they're at. They're kind of buried. So all of these guys, they're risky, but again, low risk, high reward.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we'll speed these last couple up. So who you got next?
Yeah, it brings me into my next guy. I'm sticking in Mile High. I'm going Jerry Jeudy. So Jerry Jeudy had 113 targets in 2020. He had Drew Lock throwing him the ball. He had a catch rate of 57%. He had 8 to 10 drops, something like that. It might have been only 6, but he had a lot of drops. And then last year, obviously, he gets the ankle injury. He was in week 1, first half, he had 6 catches, almost 50 yards, or right around the 50-yard mark. The guy was absolutely crushing it in that first game. And then he had the ankle injury. He goes on the IR. He comes back, and the offense just can't get going. And, you look at the criticism for Jerry Jeudy, and you look back at one article was talking about how he had a goose egg in week 14 last year, and kind of making a claim that Jerry Jeudy is not all that he's cracked up to be. You go back and you look at that game, and Teddy Bridgewater was benched because he was playing so poorly. Drew Lock comes in. They have 34 passing attempts. They have 18 completions. The wide receivers combined for 4 catches, and both of the tight ends were utilized in that game, which shows you that each quarterback was just checking down. You get a quarterback in this situation in Denver with Jerry Jeudy, who's a guy who has in college and at times in the pros has shown that yards after the catch, he can compile those big time because he's explosive and he gets open. He's a good route runner. I'm definitely targeting Jerry Jeudy. I think you can trade for certain a late first round pick. And I think he's going to be a guy who's going to be a wide receiver 2 consistently, or a wide receiver 1 down the road. He's still only going to be 23 years old this year. Go out, target Jerry Jeudy, get him on your team. And the only concern with him, crowded receiver room and quarterback situation.
True. But injuries happen to one of those receivers, and he's going to be instantly, hopefully it's not him, instantly up there in that wide receiver 1 discussion. Yeah, I would definitely give up this year's late first round. I got to look more into 2023. Maybe not, but maybe you could flip some other assets for a 2023 first rounder if you don't want to part with it. I understand, but Jerry Jeudy, the potential is there. I don't think you mentioned it, but the catchable balls that he was targeted, so you could look at his targets, but at times half of them weren't even catchable. So just think if he could get Aaron Rodgers to go there, or
Russell Wilson.
Mr. Unlimited.
Try to set it up.
See what you're doing there.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think Russell Wilson will be going to the Giants or Philadelphia after this season. Who knows? I know he scrubbed his social medias, but anyway, we're getting off topic. Jerry Jeudy, yes, he would probably be, out of all the guys that we discussed, my number 1 guy I would target. Even if you have 3 stud wide receivers, still get Jerry Jeudy. Like you said, young, the potential is there, and he's been disappointing the manager that he's been with. So, yeah, I like it.
All right, what do you got for your last guy here?
All right, real quick. Alexander Madison, the backup running back for the Vikings. He's 24 years young this season. Cook is getting there towards the end of his career. He's 26.
Why you got to put that on him?
I know. But some may say to trade Cook right now, and I have him. I'm like, yeah. The problem is, in Dynasty, this is the one thing. Alexander Mattison, he's most likely the handcuff to Dalvin Cook. So I don't know how you're going to pry Alexander Mattison away. You might have to give up a couple firsts to get Cook and Alexander Mattison if you're looking even in the long term or short term. Get Cook right now, trade Cook away, and keep Mattison because he's going to be an unrestricted free agent after this season. And he has proven that he can be the workhorse. I'm not sure if I made so much sense saying all that. You might not be able to straight up trade for Alexander Mattison is what I'm saying, because someone like me who has Cook, I'm not getting rid of my handcuff with Alexander Mattison. So you're going to have to do the package deal. But say you can find him by himself, I would try to trade for him. In a few games that Cook did miss, and you look at Madison's production, he had averaged 24 points per game when he was getting over 27 touches for the game. That's number one running back right there. So say he goes somewhere next year to somebody that's going to be rebuilding, there's going to be a lot of moving running backs as well. So say he goes to, I don't know, Miami next year. That would be nice. And he can catch out of the backfield. He does it more than Cook. So I like him a lot. Try to target him. It's hard to say what to give up for him. If it's straight up a second round, maybe, because somebody who has him knows his potential. But I don't know. I don't know if you'll be able to get him, but I would definitely try because I think he's going to be a number one running back. Excuse me.
You're absolutely right. It's going to be tough to try to grab him because a lot of people do see his value long term because he's proven it when he's had the opportunity. But at the same time, once again, you get the draft time and you have a second round pick and somebody wants to get back into the action and you throw in Alexander Mattison and you either toss in a second by itself to try to get him. I'm all for that. I do think he's going to be a starting running back at some point. And I think he's going to be a really good running back at some point. He's probably going to give you 2 or 3 solid years. If you make the trade that you just mentioned, or people are looking to maybe get rid of Cook, maybe they don't want that running back situation. Maybe they see Madison taken away from Cook in the future. I'm okay with tossing 2 firsts for Dalvin Cook and Alexander Mattison.
Mm-hmm.
I really am. Especially if you're a contender and it's a late first this year and you're likely going to contend and it probably be a late first next year, I'd make that move all day. And people might be willing to do that. So you're essentially at that point, you're trading for a running back 1 in Dalvin Cook, a top 7 or 8 running back. And if Alexander Mattison ends up going somewhere next year and Cook stays in Minnesota, you could potentially have 2 very good starting running backs on your roster. And when you're talking trades, you just want to replace those picks with actual, quality guys. And that's what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe you could flip them. You get Dalvin Cook and Madison for a couple first rounders, and then you trade away Cook. And you're like, all right, I'm not a contender even with Cook. I'll trade him to a contender for his 23rd first rounder. And I'm going to keep Madison. And
Absolutely.
the hopes that he'll be the number 1 running back on a team. You got to know your league. You got to know what the teams are fans of. If they value picks over players, if they value the proven players over the picks, you got to be able to gauge that. It's harder when you're thrown into a league. We understand that. Just try to add them on social media just to get their vibe. Talk to them. Find out. Just be friendly. Don't try to screw anybody over because then you'll be on their shit list. So don't do that. All right. Anything else you want to touch on?
No, I think that's it. I think the overarching lesson here is that I am somebody who, if you have picks and you're going to trade them, you have to think, what am I getting back for this pick? And am I going to be, if you're receiving the picks, normally you would think, am I going to replace this guy with this pick that I'm getting? Some people don't look at that. Some people, if you just throw picks their way and you get a 24-year-old running back like Alexander Madison, that I think the side with Madison wins.
Mm-hmm.
I do, because you likely know what you're getting. It's more predictable than a back end first round pick. Where this year, again, here are some examples, and we don't know what direction these guys are going to go in. But Terrace Marshall, Rondale Moore, Trey Sermon, like those are three names that were picked late in the first round this year. The year before, Benjamin, Keyshawn Vaughn, again, huge question marks. So if you can get somebody who is going to perform, who's young, who's likely going to get a chance, make that trade.
For sure. I'd much rather take the investment into a player that's proven that he can do it in the NFL just over a few games over the chance of somebody who was a stud in the collegiate level, but hasn't proven it in the NFL. So get rid of the picks or spend the picks that way for trades. Do it wisely. Don't be like me in my early ages of Dynasty. I wasn't that bad. When you enter into a new Dynasty league, I was totally okay with parting away with picks. But it kind of sucks when you're doing the rookie draft. You have to wait until the end of the third round to make your first pick, like the Texans. All right. Well, thank you, Ryan. We're at 45 minutes, so I say we wrap it up here. Want to thank you, takers out there, for listening to us on Apple, Spotify, Google, and Amazon. Much appreciated. Download the episode, share our tips with your friends and family, or your girlfriend, or your mom. They like our tips too. That's fine. Follow us on YouTube. Just a tip. A Fantasy Football Podcast. Like and subscribe. Be much appreciated. We're boosting those up, so thank you to those that have. We got some exciting things coming. Regan has been he's been making like 50 different logos, so we're trying to narrow down. I think it's too many options. It's like you go to a buffet and it's just too many options, and then you get like 3 plates and you're like, oh, I regret all of that except the first plate. But we much appreciate to Regan for doing that. We'll be getting a new look, new rebranding, developing the website, a bunch of stuff coming to you guys. I don't want to make any promises, Ryan, in case we can't follow through with them. But we're dreaming big. Thank you for supporting us. It's much appreciated. You want to support us more? Want to buy a hat? Let us know. Got a few more for sale. Next episode, we'll talk about Dynasty sells instead of buys. We'll get into that. And you stuck around this long? Might as well get to the leftovers, Ryan. Ryan, I will go first, if you don't mind.
Go for it. I'm all for it.
On HBO Max, documentary, Life of Crime, 1984 to 2020, I think is what it's titled. Or it's 82 to 2020. Follows a few people who, they're drug addicts. They're thieves, so they like shoplift, but it's kind of strange seeing a documentary from the 80s and just following these people until 2020. It's pretty sad.
How many people does it follow?
4, like 3 or 4.
Wow,
just them
and
going
for that long, for 36
for that
years?
long, popping in and out. They'll go to prison, so after like a few years, they revisit them. Very sad, but definitely needs to be shown as a scared straight type of tool for kids to don't do drugs. But it's fascinating. You root for the people, then they go to prison, they relapse, and it's just like, oh, come on. Like, you almost had it, but I recommend it, but it's not like a feel-good movie or documentary, so if you're looking for that, don't watch it. What do you got?
Listen, it humanizes people, and I think people need more of that just to kind of bring them back to reality.
Yeah, you realize how fortunate you are.
Absolutely. I have the movie Nobody. I'm sticking with HBO Max. Have you seen that yet?
I have.
Oh,
I watched it on a plane to Florida.
What'd you think?
I liked it. Little knockoff of John Wick, but it was a fun movie. I thought it was great.
I think that's what they were going for. They just kind of wanted to be a more like, I don't know, ridiculous, silly version of John Wick. But Bob Odenkirk from Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, he's in it. He's fantastic. Christopher Lloyd, Doc Brown from Back to the Future. Some really big actors. I loved it. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, he ended up finding the kitty cat bracelet, so I was happy about that.
Spoiler alert. Yeah, I liked it. Definitely a good watch. I've been watching Batman too, getting ready for Batman with Robert Pattinson. So looking forward to that. But yeah, I might watch Nobody on a bigger screen. Like I like watching your mom on a big screen. Good night.
Good night.